Hello and welcome to this very special edition of Chalk Talk / Sports Perspective. We're calling this the Michigan Special. It is Michigan Week here on Ohio State's campus. And today I'm joined by two bastions of sports knowledge from Chalk Talk, starting with Andrew Todd Smith to my right. How are you doing today, Andrew?
Outstanding. Can't wait to get into this.
And on my left, we have Aaron Urian, assistant sports director at Lantern TV. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm so excited. It's Michigan Week.
It is Michigan Week, but before we get into a lot of X's and O's talk and before we hear from the players and Coach Meyer himself, we're going to do another special thing, and that's going to happen on Saturday during Ohio State's battle with Michigan. Troy Smith, former Heisman Trophy winner, is going to be honored on the rafters of Ohio Stadium. His number 10, will be up there with the other 7 greats, and he was at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center Monday talking about what the honor will mean to him.
I'll be swirling with emotion because everybody who had a chance to help me, to push me, to embark on this type of illustrious career that I did have here, they will be there, and it's about me getting a chance to relish in the moment with them because, just like I said before, without them, I wouldn't be here.
Well, following Smith at the podium, Urban Meyer and the Buckeyes spoke a lot about this Michigan matchup, from their favorite memories to what they expect from the game to what this game means, as a lot of them are seniors and they're going to have their last game at Ohio Stadium. So take a look at what they had to say.
That this is not another game. This is, you go back and go to have a little chat with Earl Bruce for 6 or 7 minutes and this game's going to come up. And that's the way that's just the way that it is here, and that's the way it should be. So we just make a huge deal out of rivalry games. I think our players, I want them to take ownership in the program, part ownership in the program. This is not another game. This is the game. And so it is different around here. I want to have some fun with it, but I also want the players to, when you say have fun, I'm not sure how to have fun. It's how to have fun is to sing the fight song in the locker room after a win against your rival. That's how you have fun. Everything leads up to that fun.
I mean, I think it's just, no matter what the records are, no matter what, what they're ranked or whatever, it's going to be a big game. And it's been like that way, way before I got here, and it's going to be like that way after I leave. And so I think that's, the biggest thing we got to go, take going into this week.
They have a lot of talent, from the quarterback position to the receivers, even to they have talent all over the field, And it's kind of hard to wonder, what's going on up there? How come they're not winning more games, I just got done watching the film, and I'm like, man, they have multiple running backs. They have good receivers. And at any time, if this team wanted to explode, they could and just go crazy.
Well, they're a very good team. They're obviously top 10 defense in the nation, and their offense can always put up points in a hurry. And we just know it's going to be a tough game, and we have to prepare well for it.
We don't want to have something like what happened last year happen again. And so I think we're going to prepare really well for this game. Guys are going to take it really seriously. We know what's at stake, and it's a little bit more than people would imagine. Like I said earlier, you got to throw records out the window on this one. You got to know that everybody's going to, play their best.
At least for me, our regular season ended after Indiana. This is a huge game for us every year. It makes or breaks our season. Regardless of what you've done before it really makes or breaks it. So, and having it be our last game as seniors, or last Team Up North game as seniors, it's going to be a great one to go out on.
I mean, this game it's really everything. I mean, I've been thinking about it all day and really all week. Well, the last couple of days, especially now that we just got done with our last victory. But I mean, whatever you do in this game is immortalized forever. If you go for 3 touchdowns or you have however many tackles or you have however many sacks, everybody's going to remember this for really forever. So this game it means a lot to us, and it means even more to us seniors.
You don't really understand the magnitude of the game until years and years and years after, until you get a chance to take another picture with a kid who is now 12, and at the time he was 7 or 5, and he says, man, that was the greatest thing in the world. And you, at the time, you're trying to downplay it because it's just football.
All right, guys, we've heard all that they've had to say. We've heard from Urban Meyer and a bunch of the seniors, and now we get to break it down X's and O's style. We're going to start with the Ohio State offense against the Michigan defense, and Andrew, that's something that you've studied. What can we expect to see from the Ohio State O against that vaunted Wolverines defense?
Well, you said it. Number 8 total defense in the country, number 21 scoring defense, if my memory serves correctly. Michigan knows how to defend against the run. Ohio State, they're going to have a task in front of them to try and pound the rock, as it were, with Ezekiel Elliott. Obviously with the release of Rod Smith, dismissal due to, violation of team rules, kind of questioned whether their depth would, kind of recede or whether people would step up to the challenge. But Curtis Samuel, Warren Ball, they shouldn't have too much trouble if they can. Ezekiel Elliott had really good vision against Indiana, and it's kind of something, Buckeye fans maybe have gotten a little spoiled watching because 1,000-yard rusher, the 31st such performance in Buckeye history. So Ohio State is not going to need to rely on J.T. Barrett in terms of being one-dimensional through the air, but so much the better that they have talent both in the passing and the rushing game. So dealing with what Michigan brings to the table, of course, you had defensive end Frank Clark get dismissed a week ago due to an arrest on charges of domestic violence. He was, unfortunate to hear that, but he was a stout contributor for the Michigan Wolverines. But it's not like they don't have talent waiting in the wings to step up. So you have Joe Bolden and Jake Ryan, the linebackers. I don't know if you guys remember.
Jake Ryan's a Cleveland guy.
Yeah, he is. I don't know if you guys remembered seeing this, the Cowboys-Giants game last month when Jameel McClain was saying, I'm not the Mike. Well, Jake Ryan's the Mike. He's the middle linebacker. He leads the team in tackles. Joe Bolden also stepping up. So their linebacking core, just like Ohio State, which I know you're going to talk about, Aaron, very stout. JT Barrett, he's not going to have an easy day. They came out flat against Indiana and some turnovers, and thankfully to the production of Jalen Marshall, they ended up being all right. The one last thing I want to mention is that at the wide receiver position, they have the size advantage. Cornerbacks for Michigan, 5'10", 5'11". You got Devin Spencer. That's a before and
after.
It's
kind of a combination.
Yeah,
right
exactly.
There, yeah.
Devin Smith and Evan Spencer, and of course Michael Thomas. Having the advantage on those somewhat, athletic but still of smaller stature Michigan cornerbacks. So it'll be an interesting matchup to see, if Barrett wants to sling it downfield or not.
Well, let's flip the script. Aaron, you watched the Michigan offense against the Ohio State defense. Obviously, they haven't played yet, but you studied both the Michigan offense and the Ohio State defense. What is going to happen on Saturday and on that battle?
Well, it's important to note that Michigan is coming off a tough loss against Maryland last week. They're currently 5-6 on the schedule, won the year, and frankly, they're fighting for a chance to be bowl eligible. So that adds just a little bit more fire to this rivalry that's already heated. Michigan's offensive line has only allowed 12 sacks so far this season during conference play, which is the third lowest in the conference. So Joey Bosa, who ranks 5th in NCAA for sacks at 11.5 on the season, he's going to see some more of that double team on that side of the line. But their offense, on the other hand, scoring-wise, they're only averaging 20.3 points per game, which is the 114th overall. So they're already starting off kind of handicapped against a defense that's kind of retooled with Raekwon McMillan, Curtis Grant, Tyvis Powell, Joey Bosa, and Michael Bennett. They did put up 400 yards total offense against Maryland last week and still came up short. So they're able to produce. And you're going to see that in their impact players. Devin Gardner at the quarterback position. Davion Smith at the running back who splits time with Derek Green, and they also have a stable that they can just go to if they need to for the situational.
Not to cut you off, but Derek Green will be out against.
Good call.
Derek Green will not be playing.
Oh, wow.
Aiden Grove over here.
And then in the wide receiver position, they have Devin Funchess, who they're going to go to try to cut downfield through the air. So other than that, I mean, you're looking last year, you had Tyvis Powell, who gained instant notoriety on campus for stepping in front of the quick pass on the 2-point conversion right at the end of the game and seals the win for Ohio State. You look at some of the roster, even on both sides of the ball a little bit, 8, 9 freshmen that play for Ohio State. It's a very young team. that's a great storyline that you're going to see on Saturday. Is one of these kids is going to step up and make a play, and it's going to be to talk about around campus for 3 years to come.
Well, that's the thing that I get to talk about is the intangibles. Youth is kind of something that Ohio State has, that Michigan maybe has an edge in terms of experience, but at the same time, they still have Brady Hoke as their head coach, who's obviously had his struggles. Urban Meyer clearly has the advantage as a coach. Other than that, though, I mean, we did talk about this. Ohio State is young. Are they going to be able to handle the pressure that Michigan has just being in Ohio Stadium? I think being at home obviously helps Ohio State. But again, you have a lot of experience from Devin Gardner playing against Ohio State, played well against them last year. So it'll be interesting to see. I think the Ohio State has the edge in terms of the stuff that you can't really measure just because they're at home, they're playing in front of their home fans in Columbus. Last year was on the road in Ann Arbor. This year they're back at home. I think that gives them the intangibles edge. But we will certainly see. Next, we're going to head to our game predictions, guys. That means, first of all, it means score predictions, but it also means some key players and what you expect to see on Saturday. And Aaron, we're going to start with you on this one.
All right, so if you've been watching Chalk Talk all season, you know that I'm really bad at this. But that's okay. That's okay. If I get 1 out of 12 right, I'll be happy. So I'm picking Ohio State because despite the youth and whatnot, I think the way that they've come together since the second week of the season, it's going to be more than enough to overcome Michigan. I still think Michigan is going to give them a tough as nails kind of game. I'm going 45-38 Ohio State.
So you got the score up. All right. What are we thinking with you, Andrew?
So I unfortunately share the same fate as Aaron, as not being terribly talented in the predictions game. So it's a good thing I'm not a Vegas odds maker. But I think Ohio State, it could go either way in terms of Ohio State being resilient, because they really got a gut check against Indiana. 1 point lead over a then 4-6 team at home at halftime. That's not the kind of showing you want to make. So, will these seniors, will these captains step up in such a way to, get that offense back on track? I think to a certain extent, but they don't break 50. I like your prediction. I think Michigan scores a little less. I'm going to go 41-28.
41-28. I'm going to go with 39-21 Ohio State. As we talked about, there's so many factors to play into this game, but I think that Michigan will come out firing. And I think if Ohio State wins the coin toss, they're going to want the ball. They want to get out to a fast start on offense. They're going to want to score right away. And if they do, I think they can get control early and really put things out of hand. But key players for this game, we'll start with you, Andrew. Who is your key guys?
Okay, so for the Michigan Wolverines, it's going to be defensive end Brennan Breyer, 6'3", gentleman coming off the end. I think the reason he is able to step up is since the dismissal of Frank Clark, and obviously you've got these linebackers, maybe threatening to blitz. I think this guy maybe surprises some people and, comes off the end maybe unblocked once or twice to kind of keep Ohio State on its toes. As for Ohio State, I may be unknowingly stealing yours, but special teams, Cam Johnston.
Good pick.
That punt that downed itself inside the 2-yard line at the 1. I hate saying inside the 1 when it's at the 1, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That really, and then obviously Jalen Marshall's ensuing, moments later punt return touchdown. Those 2 plays keyed the Buckeyes to victory. Mm-hmm. They got back on track against Indiana, so I look for Cam Johnston to continue to help them win the field position battle en route to victory.
Aaron?
Devin Gardner. It goes without saying. The quarterback for Michigan has to have a good game if they have a chance to beat Ohio State. He's got to be able to manage the clock. He's got to be able to make the reads against this defense. You have Joey Bosa staring down at you. He's just ready. He's ready for them to take the chains off and let him go. On Ohio State side, I'm looking, kind of seen it all season. Now this guy was not a starter on defense. However, he has played in every single game this season, and that's Raekwon McMillan, the 5-star or 4-star, depending on which one you look at, recruit from down south, playing in his first year. I think earlier in the season, he had the interception for a touchdown against Maryland. I think he has a phenomenal game come Saturday.
I'm going to go with Devin Gardner. As you said, Devin Gardner is the key. He played so well last year. Maybe his best game as a Michigan Wolverine against Ohio State brought them that much closer to victory. Of course, we all remember the play we talked about with Tyvis Powell. On Ohio State's side, I think it's all about JT Barrett. I think that JT Barrett, if he's going to make throws, last week we saw against Indiana, was very inaccurate at times. If he can be accurate, they can blow this game out of the water real early. So it'll be interesting to see. Guys, that's going to do it for the show, but any final thoughts from you?
I like your point about JT Barrett. He had been evolving throughout the season, regressed a little bit in terms of accuracy and touch and finesse, but I think this is the big stage. You know, all the players have been saying this is the game. And so I love the intensity that we've been seeing, and hopefully that translates to the field for both teams. We want a good game.
Any final thoughts, Aaron?
Yeah, this is it. You look at the Indiana game that they had last week, and you sit there and you hope that they weren't looking ahead a little bit. And I don't want to accuse anybody of doing that, but I think they're not going to come out flat-footed like they did last week against Indiana. I think they're going to come right out. Like you said, they're going to seize the initiative, try to go up 14-0, but then just stay on the gas the entire game.
Well, we will certainly see if that's going to happen. Kickoff is at noon on Saturday from Ohio Stadium. And until then, this has been the Michigan Special. Have a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you later.